First of all, I would like to apologize for not releasing a video yesterday, because unfortunately for me, I had a kidney stone. And I gotta say, all the pain was everything it was hyped up to be. I think it's actually more painful than giving birth, because I know people who gave birth and wanted another kid, but I don't know a single person that had a kidney stone and wanted to go again. So I went through a lot, but no one cared about me. No one looked at my vulnerability, because there are other people far more vulnerable than I am. For example, the LGBT community in Germany. Yes, that's right. Not in Hungary, not in Qatar, not in Afghanistan, not in Iraq. No. In Germany, they're at the peak of vulnerability. I blame Merkel, to be honest. I mean, it happened under her watch. Merkel is to blame. Apparently, it's not just the LGBT, it's the gays. Look at this. The Homosexuellen, okay, the Homosexuellen, according to Germany, the Transsexuellen, the Queeren, and the Migrationistische, right? So the Migrationistische, the migrants and the gays are at the most vulnerable in Germany. Why isn't Merkel resigning? Oh, wait, she is resigning, isn't she? Well, now things can improve. Things can finally get better. Maybe we can have someone with a different mindset that isn't going to have the Migrationistische and the Homosexuellen being oppressed in the heart of the European Union. So what is this about? Because I found it very interesting. They're going to get free parking spaces. Yes, that's right. Eine Premiere in Deutschland. It's a premiere, see? For the first time ever in human history. It's like, since the invention of the wheel, since the invention of fire, we finally know something that's going to shake the history books. Migrants and LGBT people in Germany are going to get their own parking places. Now, what I find it fascinating is that usually when I think about a free parking space, and this is just me, I usually think about people who are handicapped, because it kind of makes sense. If a person can't walk properly, if they're stuck in a wheelchair, or if they have to use aid in order to walk, it's kind of inhumane to ask them to park several blocks away so that they can take the long journey all the way to the store, right? I mean, I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to park several blocks away so that someone that isn't as lucky as I am and has to put a lot more effort into walking to be able to park close to the store. I mean, it seems humane. It seems common sense. I'm not against that, right? So it's for handicapped people. But I don't think like the LGBT community or the Migrationistische consider themselves to be handicapped, right? So maybe this isn't it. When else do you get free parking space? I think you get free parking space when the government wants to encourage a certain group of people. So for example, in Romania, there's parking spaces that are reserved for people that drive electric cars. And this is to motivate others to drive electric cars. Like, look, if you buy an electric car, you spend that extra money, you're going to get free parking space. So maybe this is what it's about, right? It's to encourage people to suck cock. Maybe this is what it is. It's like, hey, do you want free parking space? Yes, you do. Suck cock. You know, maybe that's what, huh? I don't know. It's kind of bizarre, isn't it? It's a little bit weird. And to encourage people to become migrants. Like, hey, are you born in Germany? Yes. Get the fuck out. Migrate somewhere else. Go to Britain. Go to the UK. Go somewhere else. Be a migrant. All right? Like, we want to encourage you. If you're a migrant, maybe you can push for legislation in the UK so you can get free parking space there as well. Is that it? By the way, when I go, I'm actually asking you a question. You can communicate with me. Just type it in the comment section or in the chat if you're watching this in the premiere. I'm really curious to what you have to say, because it's very thought-provoking. It's philosophical in nature. Who else gets free parking spaces? So we went through the handicap. I don't think it applies. We went for the government encouraging people. I'm not really sure it applies either. You know what I think? I think it's the third group of people. Did you figure out who the third group of people is? Like, who gets free parking spaces? Important people, motherfucker. Like, when you go to a company, the CEO has his own parking space. The janitor doesn't have his parking space, does he? The prime minister probably has his own parking space. You know, Merkel, she has her own parking space, doesn't she? The lower people don't have it. So this is what it must be. It's the important people in society. They get free parking spaces. You don't matter. Now, it's kind of funny because I don't really hear... Who on earth is calling me? Just shut the fuck up. I don't really hear news about what the government does in order to take care of the homeless. Do you guys hear news about that? Here's something else that is affecting everyone: the gas prices. The gas prices have raised in Europe, at least in my country, by 50%. So did the electrical bill. Do you think we can hear more about how they're planning to tackle those issues? Because it's affecting everyone. Winter is coming, like in Game of Thrones. Yeah. Do you think we can hear something about that? What are you planning to do with the homeless people during winter? Are you just going to leave them on the streets? But anyway, I'll tell you the real reason that I decided to cover this story and why it really annoys me. It's because this is how modern politics is done. There are things in society that implicate everyone and hurt everyone. The overwhelming majority of people in society are hurt by the rise of gas prices. The overwhelming majority of people in society are hurt by the rise of the electric bill. And winter is coming. That is the main conversation. That should be what every single newspaper is talking about. That should be what every single person is concerned, to find out why it is happening, to find out what the solution should be, and to figure out how to fix it. But instead, what the politicians have figured out is that, first of all, this would encounter responsibility. I mean, the people responsible for the gas prices would have to be held accountable. And it would require competent people. It would require people that actually know what they're doing in order to avoid problems and fix the problems. And finally, it would also mean that the politicians can't just do whatever they want. They would have to actually work for the people. Because they would see, okay, like, what are the issues targeting the overwhelming majority of people, so we can address those. But instead, what politicians are doing is they're throwing frivolous shit. And they're like, oh, look, we got parking spaces for the gays. We got this for blah, blah, blah. Like something that only... I don't even think the LGBT community wants this. Like, I've never heard activists demanding for this. But what it does is for impressionable teenagers who don't have to pay the gas bill because mommy and daddy is paying the gas bill, to vote for these politicians because, oh my God, look what excellent human beings they are. Look what great people they are. Look how they're changing society for the better. Because this is what happens when most people don't have a job and they have mommy and daddy paying for the bill. They're not really worried about these things because mommy and daddy will figure it out. And that's the main problem. You know, we live in a society nowadays where the main focus is on frivolous shit that don't matter, and you get to read that in the news. But the things that actually do matter, the things that actually do impact everyone, they're pushed on the sidelines. Maybe you'll find an article here or there. Maybe they're going to just shift the blame and talk about something else. But they're not going to address it. Why are the gas prices rising? What is the reason for this? Why weren't they rising 2 years ago? Wouldn't that be an interesting conversation? Do you get to read about it a lot in Germany? In Romania, it's apparently the parliament had made a commission to figure it out. I'm not even kidding. There's a parliamentary commission tasked with figuring out why the gas prices are rising. Do you know what that means? That means we'll never get to find out why the gas prices are rising. Because if you ask the question, they will say, oh, well, there's a commission. And the commission will try to figure it out for the next 5 or 6 years. By the time no one cares about it, they're probably going to say, oh, well, you know, apparently there were a lot of taxes. You know, the government was trying to push for a greener energy, blah, blah, blah. I don't know why the gas prices are rising, but I would like to find out from a newspaper. They don't really talk about it. Winter is coming. But anyway, instead you get this, right? So what is this? This is virtue signaling, because obviously you can't even tell if someone is gay or not. Like, how can you prove it? Like, if someone parks there, it's not like the handicap parking where you see the guy getting out of the car in a wheelchair. Or it's like the CEO gets out and you can see that he's the CEO. No, it's like, how do you prove it's like he's an LGBT person or not? It's like, do you ask him, do you suck cock? And he goes like, yes. And you're like, prove it. What do you do? Like, does he show you a video? Like, how? That's pretty much what it's at. So you got the person with the initiative. It's like, no, it's for LGBT, migrants, and allies. Okay, so basically, it's for everyone. Like, let's be honest. In Germany, literally everyone can consider themselves to be one of these three groups. So this is woke ideology at its finest. Pretending that you're fixing some societal problems when you're doing jack shit. Like, no one gets to benefit from this. It's just a PR stunt. It's just to make the guy with the initiative appear in the newspapers like he is the person of the year. Instead of hearing about some priest that's feeding the homeless, or someone that's actually doing something for society, or a conversation about the rising of the gas prices, no, we get to hear what an excellent person this guy is because he came up with an initiative to paint the wall in rainbow colors. Oh, that is so good. That is so progressive. Yes, you have fixed society. Yes, this is why Germany is better than Hungary. And of course, the criticism is like, oh, there was so much homophobia in the press, which justifies that what this guy did was needed. I want to paint you the picture of what's going on. Imagine that we are past the time in human history where Christians were being thrown to the lions, when Christians were being persecuted for being Christians. You remember that actually existed in human history, right? And after that, what ended up happening was church managed to gain a lot of power. Everyone was being a Christian, and you even had the Inquisition going door to door to root out heresy. The Christians were definitely the establishment. And then you had various kings and rulers and lords converting to Christianity, not because they believed in Christianity or they generally cared about the ideology, but they did it for cynical reasons, because they legitimately wanted more power. And once they converted, everyone was pretending, wow, he is so brave, he is so stunning, for like the Christians are being persecuted, but even this Lord has the strength of character to withstand against the bad people and the evil in society. He converted. Now, if you call him out and you would say, look, I think you're doing this out of cynicism, I think you're doing this just to gain more power, you'd have been accused of being a heretic, you'd have been accused of being a sinner, you'd have been accused of being a... This is literally the thing that's happening now. Like, if you look at this and you call these people out for being cynical and just doing a PR stunt, you're homophobic. Wow, I'm like... And no one notices it. No one calls it out. Imagine if a bank, for example, would have long queues. You would need, like, it's only one bank in town, and the queues are going 1 hour long, like in communist time. Imagine this fiction, right? And then the bank says people who fuck their wife doggy style get to come in front. And people go like, what the hell is wrong with you people? Like, why are you doing this? Well, what sense does it make? And then the bank accuses you, see, you're the problem. You hate people that do it doggy style, so because of people like you, it justifies our decision. In what world does that make sense? So instead of the conversation being about why does this bank have such long queues, it's not normal. I've been in other cities. Banks don't work like this. This is not okay. Why doesn't the bank hire more staff? Why doesn't the bank do something about it? Why are they so greedy that they notice a problem and refuse to fix it? No, instead the conversation would be about something else entirely, about sexual positions, about who hates who and what hates what. And the bank is trying to get like some customers to go out against other types of customers so that they don't look at the bank who's too greedy to hire more staff. I don't get it. Can anyone explain it to me? Hopefully you didn't have kids while watching my videos. Jesus, I need to control my language. I keep getting messages from my subscribers. It's like, V, you need to stop it. You need to stop it with the innuendos. It's like, yeah, but we're talking about sexual orientation. Like, this is the closest example that I could come up with. I'm sorry. I'll do better. I promise I'll do better. Anyway, I'll be live streaming on my other channel. Hopefully I got some Germans in the chat in order to come over there so we can discuss this a little bit further. And I'll see you all there. Take care.